Hi guys, and welcome to the Willow webinar around theme days. So in today's webinar, I want to show you how you can use theme days to actually generate more engagement because they're one, unique days, and two, mostly original posts that we don't see every day. So the general parts I want to talk about are why you should implement these into your calendar, how to choose the correct theme days to use, because there are hundreds out there, what exactly is an original post, or what do we consider to be an original post, and just some examples of people who actually did this very well. So, why should you actually use a theme day? When using a day that's not typically related to your direct niche, you're showing people that you are more than just a company. You are still people working inside of a company, and humans like to see engagement with other people. Like, we connect to other people. So just by implementing these days into your calendar, you're actually unconsciously encouraging people to engage just because it hits closer to home than our regular content. Then the first question that we get is, okay, which theme days should I use? So what I like to think here is first use both very niche theme days and general ones. And usually if you go to Willow in our topical calendars, you will find a really big list of different niche specific ones and general ones. If you don't remember where to find these, it is through the ideas button, the big eye in the middle of your Willow view. Then if you scroll down just a bit, you will find the topical calendars, and then you can use the arrows on the side here to actually go through the different niches that we have. For this example, like in my account, I always turn on the Belgian theme days and Belgian holidays, but there are many, many more. Also, remember to subscribe to the Willow events topical calendar because it will show you when the open office moments are and when our webinars are, just to make it easier that you can also see them in your own calendar and plan ahead, especially for webinars that you save time to actually be present. This is how it looks in the calendar. So the orange boxes are always the topical calendars. In this one, you can clearly see I only activated the Willow events, and probably this is the Belgian theme days, I think. But yeah, just a couple. The more you activate, the more extra ideas you get in your calendar. Then, this is something I hear a lot when coaching, is that people ask me like, okay, it sounds good, but is it considered professional? Like, what if I'm a lawyer? Is it okay for me to post about Easter? What if I'm a doctor? Can I post about Christmas? So my one big answer to this is, again, by just implementing these days, we are again confirming that we're humans working in a company and that we're not just some faceless company on social media. Because it's very easy to just see a logo on social media, but if you can't see a face behind that, or at least not human features, it's very hard to find connection with that company, and even harder for us to actually engage with it because we have no idea who we're talking to. So just by using these days, you create this immense feeling of connection, which really, really helps stimulate all that engagement. Plus, it's not because we post about these days that we become less capable of doing our job. It just increases connection. So don't worry if you think, if I post about this, people will think less of me. They won't. You're equally capable of doing the job, whether you post about a theme day or not. Then the second question I get a lot is like, I don't like having all that commercial stuff in my feed. It does not need to be commercial. When I talk about theme days, it can be anything. I'm not asking you to use only the big ones like Christmas or Halloween, Easter. It can be more niche specific. If you're in IT, pick one about day of ChatGPT or something, the GDPR day. If you're in law, maybe pick a date that signifies a big change in certain regulations. It doesn't have to be all commercial and all bubbly and all whatever. It can be niche specific, it can tie into your feed naturally, but it's just stepping outside of our usual comfort zone. Just posting about something that we usually don't post about, just to shake it up a bit. Plus, I don't think we understand how much value an original post or even a theme day post can actually encourage, like how much value it conveys to your reader. It seems small, but it does a lot subconsciously. How to pick a theme day? So the first thing I like to do is just make a list of all the important days in a year for me or for my company. So if there are certain anniversaries coming up, depending on which niche you're in, which sector, that might be important days for you, just think for a second, like, which days do we enjoy celebrating in the company, or do we make a big deal out of? Write those down. In case you can't find them in a topical calendar, like let's say for me, I would activate a topical calendar about marketing. I find a day that isn't in there. You can also add them as a task, like you see in the picture in the bottom right here. I like to add extra special days as a task in my calendar, just so that I remember to use it when the time comes. Again, this is just, first of all, a good post for engagement, but second of all, also a nice placeholder or filler for your content calendar. Because this way, if you use one of these theme days and you're doing or going for posting twice a week, you only have to come up with one other post because you can already make one about a theme. But in case you find multiple dates, or like have an entire set of dates that are not in a topical calendar and would make a lot of sense to have it there. So if you're very niche, in a very, very niche market, or a sector that we don't yet have in there, feel free to just send one of us the link or the list of all the important dates. Put them in a spreadsheet with a column that says dates and a column that just says the title of the day. And we can implement this back into Willow if you want. We can create a whole new topical calendar specifically for this. So please feel free to let us know if we missed one. Then the fun part. So what is an original post? When talking about original posts, you have two very big options. Option one is that you find a post that has never been posted before. But honestly, good luck finding that. Pretty much everything you can come up with right now has been posted at least somewhere once. So instead of trying to put effort into finding a post that hasn't been posted yet, like really go looking all the corners of social media, try and find very common posts, especially with theme days, and create them in an original kind of, recreate them in an original kind of way. So instead of coming up with an entirely new thing, we're taking the existing posts and just changing maybe the perspective that we write it from, or the hook, or making something completely different than others, which makes it a lot easier to come up with. So I just put a couple of ideas down for the big theme days that are coming up that are pretty general. I purposefully chose the more crazy ones, or they're a little bit harder to do, let's put it like that. Because I think it's easier to go from a crazy or harder idea to something easier than starting with easy ideas and then having to go crazy in our minds. So feel free to dial these down as much as you need. The first crazy idea that I had was a digital Easter hunt. This takes some setting up beforehand, a bit of marketing, planning and scheduling, but if it's coming up and you post 2 times a week, maybe try in the month before Easter hiding tiny Easter eggs in every picture. And then ask people, have you noticed that we're hiding Easter eggs? And ask them how much they can find in the past month. If that is a bit too much or a bit too much juggling, take a picture with colleagues just enjoying chocolate, doing an Easter hunt maybe. I know it sounds stupid, but these are the things we enjoy seeing. We enjoy seeing people actually spend some time to eat chocolate, or like taking a small break during work just to enjoy some chocolate, especially the Belgian one. Or something entirely different we can try is summarize your entire company, make the story about your company, put it into ChatGPT, and then ask, can you turn this into some kind of Easter story or Bible story or whatever religion we want to use in this case, but just ask ChatGPT to turn it into something else. For the employee day, so at least in Belgium, this is a big deal. If we're celebrating an employee, of course, ask them to speak, like let their voices be heard through either a story from themselves, like if they have a special story or anecdote they want to share that one. If they don't, maybe start asking some questions like, what's the favorite thing about your job? What do you enjoy most? If, like that crazy question, if your job was an animal, which animal would it be? Do something fun here. No question is too crazy, but just something you don't hear every day that allows them to actually let their voice shine for once. Second option, it's much easier to do, but just make a carousel of pictures and fun facts of all your employees. You can add the fun facts to the correct picture, or you can say like, hey, here are a number of fun facts. Now it's up to you to match it to the right colleague. Either way, pictures and fun facts will always do well. If it's more a day of the clients, so if we're celebrating a client that specific day, you can again go two routes. The testimonial side, which when I use the word testimonial, I mean it's written from the client's perspective. So the client, you are looking through their eyes, they're walking into the company, explaining their problem to you, and this is how they experience the entire process. Or the other way around, when you do a success story, it's from the company's perspective. So we see a client walking in, telling us our problem, and then internally we went to discuss this and we came up with this plan and helped our client by doing XYZ. That's the difference. Again, two really powerful tools to create engagement, to actually show people how you work inside the company, what your process looks like, while also highlighting a specific client. This can be anonymous, or you can actually name the client if you're allowed to, but both work equally fine. So please don't feel constricted because you think you can't mention a client. Anonymously works perfectly. But again, it shows a bit of that human aspect. It's more than just a blank face of a company, because now we actually know what will happen if I came to you with a certain problem. You get a more clear idea of what steps you'd go through, which makes it the step of actually joining or asking for help a lot smaller. So give this one a shot. Halloween, of course, if you're into theme days or something, you're going to love this one. Make a scary picture. I think that's the number one favorite. Go full on American for this one. The scarier the better the props. Go full out. But if you can get your colleagues to actually dress up like a ghost or a zombie or a vampire, again, come up with the story of what your business is. This can just be a couple sentences explaining this is what we do, these are the people working here, this is our goal, and then just ask ChatGPT to turn this into some kind of horror story. No matter what prompt or what story you put into the prompt, this will always turn out great. Or the third one is make some Halloween memes. Memes are personal, whether you like them or you don't, but they're always a very good, unique post. We're not used to seeing them, especially not on LinkedIn. So if you add a meme to a post, people definitely see it. It's definitely a very nice way to actually make people stop in their tracks because they see something they're not used to seeing on LinkedIn. One of the last ones I came up with was for Christmas. So of course you have the cliche Christmas picture, but something else that's pretty fun to do would be a Christmas cliche bingo. So think about all the typical things we do around Christmas. So that is putting up a Christmas tree by the 1st of December or even before December, listening to All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, drinking eggnog, anything typical around Christmas. It's very typical for at least your region. Put it into like a bingo card and ask people now. Usually we post this around the 15th of December, around like the holidays. Just ask your readers like, okay, how many of these have you already encountered? Like it's not even Christmas yet and we're already singing Mariah Carey 24/7. Try something like this. Again, if you can get your colleagues into the picture, try to write some original Christmas wishes. Something more than just Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. No, what do you truly wish your people? What if you could make a wish for something very specific, what would it be? And try here to really think of a person when you're making wishes. Like think maybe it's your mother, your father, a colleague, someone you're making your wish to, which makes it a lot easier to personalize that wish. Doesn't become too broad. But again, the more personal you are for this one, for number 3, the better the result will be. And again, the famous use ChatGPT to make a story applies here as well. And then for New Year's, look at the trends. Like, are there certain trends that start to come up from October to December from the last year that you can predict will move on to the next year as well, or what their effects will be? Do you have certain goals for the upcoming year? These can be very broad, like I want to work more hours, I want to work less hours, and spend more with the kids. Very broad ones to very, very specific ones, like I want to make exactly X amount of sales next quarter. Both work. A mix of both works even better, but feel free to just pick a couple goals. If you have time to actually make this, try making a Spotify Wrapped, but for companies. What I mean by this is just make a little overview, like how many clients you had, how many hours you worked, how many coffees you drank, the top 5, whatever. Literally look over Spotify Wrapped and try finding the top 5 of a couple things. Everyone knows this. Everyone enjoys looking through this, at least if you're into music. So it's a very nice thing to see on social media as well. It's a unique thing because not many companies do this, but it's a nice way of kind of showing off the goals you reached this previous year in a way that people enjoy looking through it. Or this one is specifically around just the holidays in general. If you have a vacation period or some time free, recommend a book or a podcast. Like, I'm pretty sure every single one of us says like, oh, now that it's holidays, I finally have time to catch up on some reading or listen to some podcasts. So why not just recommend one anyways? And if the book or the podcast is about your niche or your company or the sector you're in, bonus points. If it's not, if it's a simple rom-com or a thriller or maybe even a National Geographic magazine, it'll all be good. You're already creating connection by making a recommendation, and it's just bonus points if it's about the company. For the very niche theme days, so you have some very, very specific ones. Like, for example, I'm trying to think, let's say if you're a lawyer and you pick out a specific date that a law changed, a regulation changed, and in your eyes it's a big event because we're making a post about it, don't forget to explain to your reader why it's such an important day for you or for the community or for the niche in general, because most people won't realize just how important this day is. For us, it might be logical to pick this day and write something about, but really try to convey just how important it is to you by explaining what happened that day or what it symbolizes or how it has effect on people. You can go 2 routes. You can go explaining what happened that day or what changed that day and what effects it has had over the past couple of weeks, months, years, depending how far back we go. Some examples, just to show you, this is a marketing agency, and instead of doing the typical Happy Valentine love post, they actually made some red flags or some absolute do nots during Valentine, which is, again, a unique way to use Valentine, but not be caught in the general stream of Happy Valentine posts. Same thing here. If you can't read Dutch, it says, wanna spar, like, wanna spar for a second. This is a post about asking clients if there's anything you're stuck with or you want help with, please sit down, talk to us. We're here to help. It's just a unique play on words. This is, again, something different than the classical Christmas post, but we do realize it's Christmas because we see a Christmas tree with a star. An example of the actual Spotify Wrapped. So a client that did the entire Wrapped with the countries they worked with, the languages they got to make their ITers, so the languages they used to make certain solutions, the nationalities of their clients, the coffees they drank, the whole shebang. A post from a IT company that makes solutions or custom solutions for different sectors made a story about how Santa Claus was having trouble logistically managing his elves and his reindeer and his sleigh and everything, poured that into a story about how the company, the ITers, would actually help come up with a custom solution. He just had to fill in the data and Christmas would be saved. It sounds like a stupid story, but during Christmas, we're not looking for too much educational. We'd rather read something slightly more stupid like this. So it actually had a lot of effect. Or these are newspaper printers. They still have the classic newspapers that you just send in your pictures and articles and they print it into a newspaper for you and send it back to you. They just had a lot of fun in the print shop dressing up like ghosts. Like, this is something super silly. It takes no effort at all. It's just a white tablecloth, a pair of sunglasses, and then some props. You can't recognize the colleagues. So this is a good one to try on Halloween because you can't recognize anyone. You can just have a lot of fun with this. And then as a little bonus that I added in last minute, I also put a little general ChatGPT prompt. So if you're looking for more ideas or maybe caption ideas to use for a certain theme day, try this. So just ask ChatGPT. This works in Dutch too, by the way. Say like, okay, I want to make a social media post around this specific day. This is the message I want to get across. So is it more truly showing people for Christmas joy and well-being and more like wishes? Or is it more like I want to show them I can be serious too, or that I am in my free time learning a lot, whatever the core message may be. My target audience is, are you, especially if you're someone who works on both sides, so both like a recruitment agency, for example, if you're both looking for candidates and looking for people who are hiring, which one of the two are you aiming this towards, or is it both? What is the tone of voice? Should it be formal, informal, more funny, emotional, more fluffy, whatever you feel like? And then ask for creative ideas for a catchy post or creative captions. And it will actually come up with some very decent caption ideas. I think, yeah, this is the end of my slides. So just to summarize this really quick, the point of a theme day is not to look silly or anything, but it's just a nice way to mix up your usual content mix with something that also creates a lot of connection and engagement. It's a day that most of us celebrate, especially the general ones. So it creates this feeling of connection across different sectors and platforms. You might not be in IT, but even if I as an ITer post about the day, we might get connected, even though usually our paths wouldn't cross. And again, it's just a really nice way to show that there's still people working in the company, that we get rid of that blank face or blank logo that we're used to seeing on a LinkedIn page or a social media page, and really give it almost like a human silhouette. Like, I'm not asking you to step into the spotlight if you're not used to this, or if you'd rather stay in the background and be like, okay, maybe we are an IT company, but it's not about my face, it's about the company. Completely fine. But by making posts like this, at least you give the company an outline of a silhouette. It's more of a person. You can't see the details, so it's not a complete person, but it's more than just a blank slate. So that's just a message I want to get across today. I hope you guys learned something. If there's anything else you would like to know, please let us know. Email me or Kiel, and we can use this in the next webinar. And feel free to check the calendar if you've activated the Willow events calendar for the next webinar, which will be around March 20th as well. Okay, thanks guys. Ciao.